Most people think that artificial intelligence can read their minds.
You can read minds.
They type in one word into ChatGPT and they expect it to know exactly what you want and exactly what you need, but it does not work that way. Have you ever typed something into an AI tool and you got something that was completely worthless?
No help at all.
You couldn't use it at all. That's not AI's fault, that is your fault. But don't worry, because in this video, you're gonna know exactly how to get AI to work for you and not against you. We are diving into the secret weapon of AI mastery, and that is prompt engineering, typing in the right thing and getting back the right response. Think of it as learning to speak artificial intelligence's language. When you do it right, you unlock AI's potential, the vast knowledge that it has in the internet. And in this video, we're going to explore, what does prompt engineering even mean? I will give you the 4 different ingredients that make up a great AI prompt. And all along the way, we are going to explore how to avoid getting these vague and not useful responses. Why? Because if done right, using artificial intelligence tools can make you a better event planner, can help your audience to have a better time because your plan is well thought out. And AI can be your event assistant. So the first thing we need to talk about is, what is prompt engineering and why does it matter? Prompt engineering, simply put, is the art of crafting effective instructions for AI tools. Now, there's 2 different types of engineers, not prompt engineers, that come to my mind. Number 1 would be a train engineer. A train engineer is someone who is looking at the map, making sure that they're going in the right direction. It's communicating ahead with the station. They are looking at all of the dials and gauges on the train to make sure that everything is functioning properly. The other types of engineer that comes to mind is someone who is either like an electrical engineer or a mechanical engineer. A mechanical engineer, they are designing physical systems with gears and with levers and different materials that they can use to transform energy into useful motion and function. An electrical engineer is doing something similar, where they are designing circuitry and using wires and all kinds of things in order to transform this energy into something that is useful for us to use. Now, what do those things have to do with prompt engineering? Well, prompt engineering is designing language inputs. So you're putting in a certain type of language, and you are controlling the flow of AI to think for you and give you a desired output. You are carefully arranging words, different context, and instructions in order to guide artificial intelligence behavior in specific directions. Now, in all of these cases, the train engineer, the electrical engineer, the mechanical engineer, the prompt engineer, these engineers, we are all creating systems that transform inputs into specific outputs. And just as mechanical engineers and electrical engineers, and let's even talk about nuclear engineers, you have to be very, very precise. Prompt engineering is the same way. Let's imagine that we are standing on one side of a canyon and we want to get to the other side of the canyon. We have a 3D printer next to us, and that 3D printer can create anything that we want. And I'm not just talking about like a plastic one. I'm talking about like a 3D printer that could create a helicopter or an airplane for us. Let's say we tell this 3D printer to get us from one side of the canyon to the other, to create something for us that will do that. And let's say it creates an airplane. Well, I don't know about you, but I am not a professional pilot. I have never flown an airplane in myself. I've flown on an airplane. I have never flown an airplane. I don't know how to do it. So if it creates for me an airplane, that's cool. The airplane could theoretically get me from one side of the canyon to the other, but I don't actually know how to use it, so it's pretty much useless for me. That's exactly what putting the wrong prompt into an AI tool will do for you. It will give you something back that you just cannot use. In that same scenario, if I see that there is a path that goes down to the canyon floor and then a path that comes up from the canyon floor up to the other side, and I know exactly how wide that path is, and I know how long that path is, then I can tell that 3D printer to create a car that I can drive, because I've done that before, and I can use it. And I know the parameters, I know how far it needs to get me, and I know how wide it needs to be in order to get me from point A to B. So the reason why prompt engineering for us as someone planning an event is incredibly important is because we need to be specific and we need to know where we are going so that we can get what we want out of the AI tools. So the next question that this brings up is, well, how do you create an effective prompt for a tool like ChatGPT? Well, you know what? That just makes my heart so happy. I'm so glad that you asked that. Within the last couple of months on X, there was someone who works at one of these AI companies, and they posted this tweet where it shows the 4 different ingredients of an effective prompt with an AI tool. Ingredient number 1 is giving the AI tool a goal. This is where you clearly state what you want this AI tool to accomplish with you and for you. You can begin with action words like create or generate or develop or design. You want to specify your purpose, like what are you actually trying to accomplish? Here's an example for you. Create a detailed timeline for a 100-person corporate gala. Now notice that the first word that I used was create. Notice that I told it I wanted a corporate gala, but not only that, I told it that I wanted a timeline and it was for 100 people. So I already have some specifics within the very first line of my goal. Now I could stop there and I could see what it comes up with, but remember, we are trying to be specific in order to get back something that's very useful. So the second ingredient of an effective AI prompt is the return format. What do you actually want it to give back to you? Now I did give it the word timeline, but timeline could mean many different things to many different people. So when I'm writing my prompt, I want to be very specific with what I want it to give back to me. So in this instance with a timeline could mean over a long period of time and planning leading up to it, or a timeline could be like the agenda or the schedule of the event or the run of show, if you will. So what we can do is we can request either it in table format, or we can ask it to give us the start time, the end time, and the length, and then a moment and a description. These would be very specific elements that it would give for every single moment during this actual timeline. The third ingredient of the effective prompt is going to be in the form of warnings or things that you do not want. For example, for this corporate gala, I want it to be very straightforward, very buttoned up, and very like suit and tie or black dress formal. Well, I want to make sure then to tell it what to avoid. Avoid anything that involves doing anything too crazy because my guests are going to be pretty formally dressed up. So in this stage of your prompt writing, you want to use words like avoid or don't. Another example of this would be, let's say you have a budget of a certain amount of money and you can say avoid going over X number of dollars with your ideas. And the fourth ingredient of an effective prompt is the context that you can give it. Now the context would be any additional details that you have for your event. Like we had a corporate gala, we're asking for a timeline, we've got 100 people. So the context would be maybe you have a specific theme, or maybe this is a tech company. Maybe you go into different demographics for your employees. This would be specific points that you want to give it. And maybe you even say, hey, here's a timeline that we did last year, and you want to include context. And part of your avoid is avoid repeating some of the same elements of what you did last year. So to quickly recap, the 4 ingredients of an AI prompt are the goal, putting that right at the beginning, the return format, what do you want it to give back to you, any warnings that you have, so things not to do, and number 4, the context of your audience, of your event, or other things. So now that you know how to write an effective prompt, here's a pro tip for you. Now, this is the pro tip I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and this pro tip is to tell AI before you give it this long prompt, you can give it a certain role. So you can say you are going to think like a luxury event planner or a luxury event caterer. So if you are looking for a specific set of ideas or a specific set of instructions or a specific plan that you can get back, you want it to think like a certain type of person. Before you even give the AI tool your 4 ingredient prompt, you're going to tell it, I want you to act as both the caterer and the decorator that has been to this venue multiple times. Giving the AI tool the certain role is going to allow it to search through certain sets of data in order to give you back the best prompt response. Now, if you notice throughout the last couple of minutes, one of the things that I have been trying to drive over and over and over again is the fact that we have to be very simple and very clear with our instructions to the AI tool. Imagine you're sitting across the table from someone who has never worked an event with you before. They are extremely knowledgeable. They are extremely talented. They are extremely experienced. They've got tons of knowledge. They've got tons of ideas. But you have to give them a specific set of instructions in order to get them to come alongside you and make your event as great as possible. The great thing about these AI tools is they cannot get their feelings hurt.
Are you trying to hurt my feelings? Because if so, you are succeeding.
So you can completely delete an entire conversation and delete all of the ideas or all of the timeline or whatever it was that they just gave you and ask for something fresh. You can refine your prompt over and over and over again until you get the best possible item. Now, avoid analysis paralysis where you just do it over and over and over, waiting for the perfect thing. It does not exist. What you want to do is give it a prompt and then maybe refine that prompt, and you can start over from scratch if you want to, or you can go back and tell it to adjust something. So let's say, for example, we're working on that corporate timeline for the gala. What I can do is I can say, instead of giving me the moments in hour-long chunks, I want you to give it to me in 15, 30-minute, and 60-minute chunks for my timeline. And if it was not in a table format, I can say, hey, please rewrite this and put it into a table format. Because let's be real. If I was sitting across the table from someone who's an extremely experienced event professional, and I were to say one word, centerpieces, they'd probably look at me like I'm an idiot.
You're an idiot?
Yep. If she tells you you're an idiot, you are a lucky man.
They'd be like, what are you talking about? So to avoid getting back things that we do not want, we have to be specific. Instead of saying, give me good ideas for a 5K, we can be specific with a goal. We can tell it things to avoid. We can give it additional context. And we would say budget-friendly decor ideas for under $500. And now that you know all of this, it's time for you to put this into action. Here is my homework for you. Go to Claude.ai, or go to Google Gemini, or go to Grok, or go to ChatGPT, and create your own prompt from scratch using the 4 ingredients. Make sure to be specific and test each one of those. Maybe you give the same prompt to each one and see what it gives back to you differently. As well as then take it a step further, tell it a role, give it your prompt, and then you can see the differences side by side. And finally, make sure to then go in and try out for yourself, what does it look like to refine the prompt? And then tell it to change something. So you are refining the process to get back something specific that is helpful for you. And if you're looking for an AI tool that is also attached to an event planning website, look no further. I got something for you. You can go to eventbuilderpro.com, create a free account, and you can use the AI tool that I have nicknamed Builder, and you can test out these prompts for yourself. If you think that those 4 ingredients are going to be helpful for you, then be sure to hit the like button on this video. And if you want to go deeper into understanding how can artificial intelligence help you as an event professional, be sure to check out this video. Because if you type in the wrong prompt into an AI tool, you're going to be sitting back thinking, and I still haven't found what I'm looking for.